Good morning. It is good to see you all. Welcome to New Phoenix. My name is Richard Maraj. I'm the senior minister here. And it's a joy and a blessing to be with you all. Today we have two important intentions, and the first one is that you have a profound experience of God. Shall we just take a deep breath? And just relax into your seat and let go of whatever is worrying you, whatever responsibilities, and just open your heart to allow God to touch you in a profound and meaningful way. And the second intention we have is that you feel a sense of community and connection, that you feel a sense of oneness. You know, Jesus said, where two or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them. And he's really talking about when we join together in our faith and our joy and our vision and our energy and for a sense of purpose, that it really magnifies that energy throughout the room. So please know, whether you've been here for the first time or for coming for years, that I'm glad you're here today, and please know that your presence absolutely makes a difference.
Unity of Phoenix is a loving spiritual community that welcomes all people and honors all paths to God. We are dedicated to transforming lives by inspiring and awakening individuals to discover God's Spirit within them. And now, if you will stand and join us in our opening song.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and His grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I invite you to just ponder those words for a few moments. And as you're considering them, just take a deep, refreshing breath and lean back into your seat and get comfortable. Make it a mental decision to shut out any outer distractions. And just find that place of peacefulness and calmness that resides at the very core of your being. For the next few moments, just give yourself permission to be still and to be quiet and to be open and receptive to that healing, transformative power of God that is not only within you, but all around you. Supporting you, loving you, accepting you, inspiring and motivating you, leading and guiding you. So many times in the busyness of our lives, we get so caught up in planning and doing, racing ahead at full speed. We forget to slow down and relax and just be. So one more deep, refreshing breath. And then just be still. Today we give thanks for that one source. It is all there is and all there will ever be. And more importantly, we give thanks for our connection. Our connection to God, our connection to each other, and our connection to all of life. We're grateful in the name and through the nature of the living Christ. And so it is. And amen.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
Good morning again, everyone. And a special welcome and shout out to everybody who tunes in and watches us online. Thanks for joining us. So a woman went to see her doctor, and she went to the doctor's office. She ended up seeing this young, new doctor, and after about 4 minutes in the examination room, she burst out of the room screaming and running down the hall. And this older doctor stopped her and asked her what the problem was, and she shared, and he ended up putting her in a little room, bringing her a glass of water and just having her relax. And then he goes back and to find this young doctor, and when he came upon him, he said, "What's the matter with you? Mrs. Terry is 63 years old. She has 4 grown children and 7 grandchildren. And you had the audacity to tell her she was pregnant?" And the new doctor smiled smugly and continued writing on his clipboard, and he lifted his head and he said, it cured her hiccups, didn't it? I joke. Okay. Audacity. Today we're talking about audacity. To me, that is a powerful word, audacity. But sometimes it has a little bit of a negative connotation, a little connotation of rudeness or maybe arrogance or having a lot of gall or nerve. But it also has a very, very powerful positive meaning. Audacity also means the willingness to be bold. It means the willingness to be daring, to take risks, to be fearless, and to be courageous. It's so powerful, Winston Churchill once said, "The first quality that is needed is audacity." Benjamin Disraeli once said that success is the child of audacity. Audacity is a boldness and a confidence and a clarity that makes things happen. Before I went on my sabbatical, I was looking in the bookstore. I like to look at books and get titles to inspire me for a talk, whether I get the book or not. I just like titles, and I came across a book that it was entitled Divine Audacity. And I thought, there's something. Divine audacity. Divine audacity is a boldness, a clarity, and a confidence that makes things happen that is soul-centered, that is grounded in God, and that is guided and acts from a higher spiritual perspective. Divine audacity is living a boldly spiritual life that is centered and grounded in the awareness of God's presence and in the truth of our divine nature. How many people here would like to live a really amazing life? Anybody would like to live an amazing life? I think we all would. We want to live an amazing life. We want to live a successful, a meaningful, a fulfilling life. We all do. And how many people, even though you want to live an amazing and incredible life, how many people would admit that there's some area in your life where you have not shown up as big, worked as hard, or given your best in that area? Anybody have a? And how many people would admit that in some areas of your life you have played small, given up, given in, and not even tried or gone after your dreams? Anybody? And so the question is, if we want such a big life, if we want an incredible life, why is it that we don't live as boldly, as daringly, as confidently, and as clearly? Why do we choose instead to live the opposite, to live tentatively, to live cautiously, fearfully, to not try and to not go after our dreams? I think there are two reasons why we don't live as spiritually boldly or live with as divine audacity. And the first one is there is some part of us that has not fully accepted, that has not embraced, that has not owned and embodied the truth that we are amazing spiritual beings. We haven't owned our spiritual greatness. The author of the book, Linda Martella Whitsett, says the only way you can really live a life of divine audacity is that you first need to accept that you are divine. And most of us have a challenge of truly accepting that we are divine. See, we can accept hearing great spiritual things about us in the second person. You are created in the image and likeness of God. You are the temple of the living God. You are the light of the world. You can do the things that I have done and even greater things. We can take it in the second person, but in the first person, it scares us and makes us uncomfortable. To say, I am the light of the world. I am created in the image and likeness of God. I am the temple of the living God. I can do the things that Jesus has done and even greater things than these. In the first person, we don't feel quite as comfortable. The I am is the spiritual identity of who we are. And we feel more comfortable attaching negative things to our I am than divine things. We are sometimes more comfortable in saying, I am so lazy, I'm so clumsy, I'm broke. I am always getting hurt in a situation. I am such a loser. I'm such an idiot. I'm so stupid sometimes. We feel more comfortable than that than saying, I am divine. I am the light of the world. I am the temple of the living God. Isn't it amazing? We have a difficult time accepting our spiritual greatness, and we would rather attach our I am to things that are so far less than who we really are. I am the light of the world. Together. I am the light of the world. Take a deep breath into that. I am created in the image and likeness of God. Together. I am created in the image and likeness of God. Deep breath into that. I am the temple of God. Together. I am the temple of God. Deep breath. And finally again, I am the light of the world. Together. I am the light of the world. Deep breath. And so to really live a life of divine audacity, the first thing we need to do is to truly accept that I am divine, that I am the light of the world. Second reason we kind of struggle with divine audacity is because to fully own our spiritual greatness is kind of scary. It's kind of a big responsibility. Sometimes too much greatness is frightening for us, and we'd rather not go there. We'd rather play a little small, play a little safe, keep it here, but to sometimes own the level of greatness sometimes terrifies us because it feels like a big responsibility and more than we think we can handle. So this morning I want to use chapter 5 in the book of Matthew. You've heard it all before, verses 4 to 16, and we're going to see the great and powerful teaching there to help us live a life of divine audacity. Here's what it says. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under a bushel basket, but on a lampstand, so it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. And 4 things this passage says. Number 1, it tells us about our nature. You are the light of the world. The light of God is in you. You are a temple of God. You are divine. So right there, it says, that's your nature. You are the light of the world. Second thing, it tells you what you're supposed to do. It tells you, let your light shine. And warns you, don't hide it. Do not hide your light, but let it shine. Third one says that when you do it, guess what? It gives light to everyone in the house. You letting your light shine gives blessings and goodness to everyone in the house, in your life, in our world. And the fourth thing is when you do it, you glorify your Father who is in heaven. Everyone wants an amazing life. Everyone wants to live a great life, and it's available to us. The question is, are you willing to live your life with divine audacity? And so the first thing for us to do, in my opinion, is we have to have the audacity to make prayer a priority in our lives. How many believe in the power of prayer? All right. How many believe that prayer is the most powerful way to connect with God and to connect with our spiritual power? How many people agree with that? Okay. So then how many people would say that you probably don't pray as much as you could or you should? Anybody? Okay, so we believe it's powerful, we just don't really practice it that much. Okay. And it sounds kind of funny. We say it's something we think is important, but how many people here have ever been too busy to pray? Anybody been too busy to pray? Ever forget to pray? You know, ever been too tired to pray? Ever pray in the morning so you can just get it over quickly? Anybody ever? You know, we love prayer, but I got to tell you, sometimes we act like prayer is a burden. We act like it's so hard. Sometimes we act like it's a bit of a punishment. And sometimes we act like prayer is like eating broccoli or doing the laundry, you know, or going to the dentist or visiting your in-laws or going to the gym when you don't feel like it. It's like one of those things. We know it's good, but we really don't want to do it. You know, and yet prayer is so powerful. Prayer is so amazing. And we don't turn to this amazing, powerful thing. You know, Jesus had the audacity to make prayer the number one thing in his life. He prayed in the morning, he prayed in the afternoon, he prayed all the time. He prayed before a sermon, he prayed after a sermon, he prayed before a healing, he prayed after a healing. He prayed all the time. He had the audacity to make prayer an absolute priority in his life, a daily commitment and practice of his life. You know, sometimes we act like prayer, you know, is a last resort, not the first resource, as Jesus made it. Once this lady, she was driving on a plane, flying on a plane, and there was a little kerfuffle going on in the front deck, and a flight attendant came by, and the passenger said, "Hey, is everything okay?" And the flight attendant said, "Yeah, but I just think we should pray." And then the woman said, "Oh my God, are things that bad?" And so, because that's how we think of prayer, is that we rather run around and do everything, and then when things are really not good, that's when we should pray. You know? Here's what it says in the book of Philippians about prayer. It says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thankful hearts, make your requests be known to God, and the peace of God that surpasses all human understanding will be upon you. Don't be anxious about anything, but in everything turn to God in prayer. So often when things don't go right, we don't have the audacity to go right to prayer. We tend to run scared and start freaking out and worrying and turning and trying to find answers like with our chicken, like a chicken with its head cut off. But would you be willing to be bold enough when things aren't going well, whether it's health or whether it's finances, that you turn to God with prayer? Whether it's a conflict in your family or a health issue, that you turn to God in prayer, to make God your first resource rather than your last resort. Do you have the boldness and the audacity to make prayer a priority in your life? Second thing is to have the audacity to take time to heal. Eckhart Tolle has a concept that he calls the pain body. Anybody read Eckhart Tolle? And what he says is that every one of us has energies of pain that are unresolved, that still sit in us because we have stuffed them and not wanted to deal or feel with some of that pain, so we just buried it in ourselves. And we carry that pain body in us. And we think we're doing ourselves a favor by avoiding the pain and just stuffing it and trying to just move forward. But he says what you do is you actually block and clog the flow in yourself of feeling joy and peace. You know, sometimes we don't just want to keep moving forward with life and not really wanting to take time to heal. Anybody ever drive your car with your emergency brake up? You ever had that fun experience? You know? And so what happens is your car still goes forward. It goes forward. But it kind of a lot of grind and wear and tear. It takes a lot more gas and engine, and it wears on you a little bit more. Well, trying to go forward in our life with unresolved hurt and pain in us is like driving with your emergency brake up. It'll still go forward, but not as smoothly and a lot more wear and tear. But if you have the audacity to stop and take time to heal, it's like releasing the brakes. It's like letting go of that unhealthy energy and pain and hurt. And whether it's from abandonment or unworthiness or shame or guilt or abuse, whatever it is, releasing the brake releases it so we can move forward with ease and grace. Last week I told you my sister Ariane fainted and fell down some concrete steps in the subway station and broke all her teeth, cracked her eye socket, damaged her shoulder, her elbow, broke her wrist. It was not a fun experience for her. Been doing a lot of therapy, physical therapy and so on and so forth. Interestingly, after a month and a half, I was helping her with her ice and cool packs on and off, and here's what she said to me. She said, you know, Rich, I think this may have happened to me to help me slow down and to really have a look at myself and how I'm living my life. I think there's some things for me to really look at, things that I've sometimes avoided or not really faced or dealt with, things I know I need to heal, things I know I need to get clear about. Maybe this is a good thing for me. Maybe this is here to help me. My sister hasn't just gone to physical therapy, she started going to a therapist. For the first time in her life, she actually started meditating, doing yoga. And actually, when we were together doing the ice packs, we would meditate together every day. First time in our lives. She's in Toronto, and we still meditate once or twice or 3 times a week. I call her on FaceTime, and we look at each other and talk for a second, and then we close our eyes for 20 minutes together. I think it's funny to call someone on FaceTime, look at them, and then close your eyes for 20 minutes, but this is how we do it. But anyway, there's something that feels strangely intimate about it and connected. But I applaud her so much because sometimes things that can look so horrible and harmful and devastating in our lives can sometimes be the best. She started her PhD, or applying and stuff for a PhD at University of Geneva, and she had to stop that. And now after 3 months, she's just put her application in last week, and we'll see how it goes. But what she's done is not stopped her meditation, not stopped doing her spiritual work, because she knows that there's a message that will heal her and help her live her life more fully and freely. I have a really interesting theory, and I think that I know a lot of people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who hit a wall, and it's like something in them comes up, and it needs to be healed. It's as if they've been working hard all their lives, raising kids, being successful, getting money, and sometimes in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, finally when your soul says, okay, it's time to heal. It's time to face the things that we've buried in stuff and time to liberate ourselves. I find a lot of people I know in that age range, including myself, stuff comes up. And it's important for us to take time to allow ourselves to deal with some of those things and get rid of that pain body, because it opens a space for more life, more joy. We can't just keep moving forward. You've got to sometimes stop and do that inner work, that soul work. A friend of mine, Reverend Jill, my colleague, my friend, my prayer partner, just wrote a book called Time to Heal. And you'd think it might be about a journey of healing from cancer or broken limbs or something, but it's really about a journey of healing our soul. It doesn't matter what the disease, what the trauma, what the thing is. All of those are just outer things to heal what's going on in here. And so every one of us, has to look at our lives and say, do I have the audacity and the boldness to look at this depression or this hurt or this funk I'm in and go a little deeper and see what my soul needs liberating from to free me to live my life more fully and more freely. A friend of mine used to say, life only gets better when you get better. You can add as many outer things as you want. and think you'll get happy, but it's only when it gets in here, by releasing and opening a path, can we feel more love and happiness and fulfillment. Make sense, everyone? The audacity to put prayer first, the audacity to take time to heal, and finally, it's the audacity to listen to your inner voice and let the light of God that's in you just shine brightly in whatever you do. In whatever you do. December 2012, there was a Kenyan runner named Abel Mutai who was about to win a cross-country race that was held in Spain. Distant second to him was an athlete from Spain named Ivan Fernandez Anaya. Anaya needed to win that race so he could make the Spanish team so he could compete in the European Championships. Mutaya was significantly ahead, but 10 meters before the finish line, he confused the finish line and he stopped running. And so everyone, including Anaya, was gaining on him, and some people in the fans were trying to say, and he wasn't really understanding. So Anaya finally caught up with him, and instead of passing him, which he could have, and gotten the win, he actually pointed to Mutaya about where the finish line was and allowed Mutaya to win the race. And somebody could think like that, well, where was your competitive spirit? Where was your this? But he said after the fact, he said, I was so far behind him that there was no way I was going to catch him unless he got confused and made that mistake. And he said he was the rightful winner. And it felt right in my heart that the right thing to do was to help him find the finish line and win that race. Anaya didn't make the Spanish team, didn't compete in the European Championships. But I would tell you, he did an amazing thing. He said within about 15 or 20 minutes of that, he had 500 new requests for friends on Facebook. But to me, it wasn't about winning a race. It was about, he listened to what his voice said. Sometimes the inner voice may speak things that may not seem logical and right, but your soul knows what's the right thing to do. And it was his to do. And to me, more than just 500 people, here we are in Phoenix, Arizona, far away from Spain, being inspired by an amazing man who just followed and had the boldness to listen to his spirit and follow his inner voice. Bob Thompson, in 1999, sold his asphalt company for $422 million. And as he retired, he thought to himself, I wonder what I should do with this money. So he ended up giving $128 million of it to his 550 employees. And so that they got what they got, he decided to pay the taxes for them as well, so that they got the money that he actually gave them. It took some boldness, but this is what he was guided to do. Cal Maynard competed in wrestling, mixed martial arts, set records in weightlifting, and also reached the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. That sounds amazing. What's even more amazing, he did it without forearms or lower limbs. He had a congenital issue and was a quadruple amputee. He is a successful author, motivational speaker, and he wrote a book called No Excuses. And he encourages people to be bold and live beyond what you think you can do. Melissa Modifer, our amazing soloist today, just graduated from ASU in musical theater. She is a song composer. She wrote the song you just heard. She wrote the song you're going to hear after. She has written a song for me based on a talk title we've done in the past. I did a talk on one of her songs called Beauty because it inspired me so much. She loves composing, she loves musical theater, and she has decided to take her talents to Broadway in New York, and she is boldly moving there in 2 weeks to fulfill her career. Isn't that incredible? And the thing I love is she said, Richard, I'm scared. I'm terrified. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I know I got to go. And listening to that voice and listening to your light and following what your soul says to do isn't always easy. It can scare you. But when you feel compelled and drawn and are willing to listen to it, it will lead you to the right things. I know she's going to meet the right people. I know she's going to get the right break. She don't know what it's going to look like yet, but she knows, and she's willing to take that step forward and let those things unfold. She ended up sharing with me a quote by Jim Carrey that really touched and inspired her. It brought tears to her eyes when she read it, and here's what it says. He said, "So many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we really seem to want feels at some level impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never even dare to ask the universe." He said, "I am a living example that asking and doing these things are possible." He said, "My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't think it was possible for him. And so he had a conservative choice, and he decided to have a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from his safe job, and we had to do everything we could just to survive. I learned a lot of great lessons from my father, and one of them was that you can fail even trying to stay safe. So you might as well take a chance, be bold, and go after what you really love." And my question for you is, where in your life are you really being safe? Where in your life are you hiding your light? Where in your life are you not listening to what your soul is calling you to do? Where in your life is calling you to be bold, to go after it, and to live that thing? W.H. Murray once said, "Whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it." Because boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. There is a great life and a better life waiting for every one of us. But the one thing we need to do is to remember that you are the light of the world. How different would your life be if you started showing up in every situation knowing that you were the light of the world? That you were spiritually magnificent, that there was spiritual genius in you. Would you be willing to be bold enough to live your life at that level? Everything is waiting for us. It's out there. The question is, would you be willing to go for it and to allow yourself to live with divine audacity? God bless you all.
The light of God
surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. All right. So let's stand now and join together in our closing song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Have a great week, everyone.